You're the first team to play Notre Dame, so I guess you're kind of getting things started in terms of ACC play for Virginia against them. What do you think about their soccer program and what you're facing this week?
Well, actually, for us, it's so we've been playing them for a number of years. We go up to Michigan for our preseasons, and we've played them, I think, probably at least 4 or 5 times here in the last 8 years. So we're very familiar with them. It's usually our preseason exhibition game. So I think it just takes on a little different flavor now because they're in the ACC. But they've always been a very strong program, and I think the exhibition games we've had have been always very competitive. So we don't expect anything less here. Well coached. We know a lot of their players, familiar with a lot of their players, recruit against a lot of their players. So I think this will be a great start to an already budding rivalry in terms of the conference.
You have a lot of attacking forces in the front. Crystal Thomas is one of the leading scorers. Have you really talked about that to your team and how to really contain her?
Not yet. No. We just got off the one game yesterday, and so we're starting to watch some video on them. I watched a little bit last night on them when I got home, and again, familiar with some of their players, but we'll get a little more familiar here in the next few days, and prepare for them just like we have all the games that we've played so far.
Question for you and Morgan, Coach. Morgan talked about students coming up on campus talking to her and just congratulations, and they're kind of more aware of the UVA women's soccer program because you've been ranked #1. Has anything changed for you in terms of just maybe former players calling to wish you well, or just national attention that anything has changed here in the last couple of weeks with you guys being ranked #1?
I think there's more. I think with that you get a little more attention, and there's more publicity for our program, which is great for them. They deserve it, and I think our alumni have been sort of. I think they've always had pride in the program, but I think even more so that the program's doing so well. But I think the crowds have been fantastic. I think that's been an offshoot of all this. But as we talk about it with the team, we really haven't achieved any of our goals yet. So I think we're trying to keep a good level head, and the players have done a remarkable job of that. I don't think I don't feel it's gotten to them at all in any way. I think they're preparing the same way. They're going about their training sessions the same way, and I think that's been important for us to maintain a certain level that we expect every day. So that's been good.
And Morgan talked about kids coming up on campus. Just talking about how the team's done well. Have you felt that too?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's definitely a more hype around the campus about the women's soccer team and the program and how we've been doing so far. And I think that's just, like he said, it's the way we've been playing and the amount of goals we've been scoring and, the results we've been getting. So I think if we can keep doing that, and hopefully we can keep bringing people out to Klockner to watch us play.
You mentioned going through video, starting video preparation for Notre Dame. For those of us who are more accustomed to football and basketball, where video is so plentiful, is it difficult to get video of opponents for coaches?
That's a sore subject with us. I'll tell you why. we can't scout in our sport. We can't scout live, so we can't go scout live. But we've made a commitment within the ACC to every home team has to put their video on a server that we all can draw from and use to prepare our teams. So we have access to this, but occasionally the video is not as good as our quality. Video is quite good, which we take great pride in, but occasionally you don't get that same quality with other programs. So I think that for the most part it's all pretty good. But we draw our own video from these servers, download them, and so for instance, if we play Notre Dame on Thursday, I can go on the server and get all Notre Dame's games from the different games they've played so far in the ACC and watch them and go over them. So it's a good way to do it. It's obviously cost effective, but sometimes you just don't get the same quality as you might at other places. So you have to kind of weed your way through that.
So how do you see the matchup with Notre Dame? What's the key for you guys to come out victorious on Thursday?
Well, I think obviously there'll be a very competitive game for us, be a challenging game for us. I think they're very similar in a lot of ways. If you look at our statistics, I think shots, goals, goals against, they do a nice job on both sides of the ball. But having said that, we've really, I think, done a good job, and our players deserve a lot of credit just for playing our game and concentrating on what we can control. And I think the biggest thing is make sure we go in rested and ready for the game. I think we'll have a good crowd, hopefully, and that's been a factor here for us at home. But just making sure we're bringing everything to the table in terms of our energy. I think this team's very experienced. They've played a lot of soccer together, and I think one of the strengths that we have is that kind of unity on the field, where we can move the ball and create chances for ourselves, and collectively how we defend. And I think that's something we'll just have to rely on in games like this. But we've got good, we've had some good history here, certainly this year in terms of playing big games at Klockner, and I think a lot of that has to do with our fans.
Morgan fans, it gets you going? Does that play a factor in this one?
Yeah, for sure. I think most people, when we're playing in the games, we don't really recognize the fans or the outside atmosphere. But this year, I think everyone after games has, just commented on the fans and how much support we've been getting, especially from the younger girls and the younger can girls and the soccer teams around here. But I think for us going forward, it's a huge factor for us to come out victorious in some of these home games that we have left.
And aside from the fans, what's the key to beating Notre Dame on Thursday?
I think Steve pretty much hit all the points. I think focusing on us and how we play in our game and keeping the ball like we have been and a lot of movement off the ball and trying to score a lot of goals, I think that's the way we got to focus on every single game we got going forward.
Coach, you changed your scheme late last year, and it seems like it has really kind of kicked everything up a notch for the team. I think there's only been one game that you've struggled to score since then. Are you still seeing dividends from that flip, or
Yeah.
is there a different personality to the team after that, or?
No, I mean, you always look at, you always have to have kind of two eyes on your team. One is how we're doing now, and the other is this the way you want to go? Can you tweak some things? I don't, probably no different than a golfer who is, they're used to their game, but they're always looking at different ways they can make their shots a little bit better here and there. I think it was after the Florida State game last year. We got back from Japan, so it was a little harder. I just had to get my hands back on the team again a little bit and just see where everybody was, and look at the first years that had come in that we hadn't had a chance to work with a little bit. So after about 3 weeks, I think it was after the Florida State game, I didn't think we generated a lot of chances against them, and I felt we were better. We were better than we were in terms of being able to do that. And we looked at our personnel a little more closely, and we felt we would be better in a two-front than a three, just given the forwards that we did have. And I think that there were some matchup issues. It's easier in our system. We were playing a 4-3-3 with three center midfielders, and I think it's a little it's easier to match up in that system if you play the same way, and they can mark up Morgan a little more easily in that system. So we tried to flood the midfield a little bit more. We've always been a good ball move. We've always been a good team that moves the ball quite well. But I think this gave us more numbers in the middle of the field, and it gave our players more support around the ball. And I was kind of surprised how fast it all kicked in, but it was just a little tweak, and I think when you have some, I think it also coincided with Morgan getting a little bit of rest and doing her thing, because she really, I think after that trip, I think it was then that I think she got her feet underneath her after a long campaign in Japan and things like that. So I think there was a combination of the tweak in the scheme, and then Morgan kind of dictating play a little bit more, and the team really just took off from there. And it's been, aside from a poor first half against Duke in the NCAA tournament, we've been pretty consistent over, I would say, the last maybe 20 games or so.
Does it feel different for you with the switch? more people around the midfield area?
Yeah, that definitely helps. I think because when I turn or I find the ball, I have someone to my left and my right pretty close, especially because we have players that like to play closer to us in the midfield. And I think that it's, like you said, it's generated a lot more attack. And I think since we have so many people around the ball, we can combine and play the way we want to play and get our outside backs forward and then push a lot of numbers into the box and then get it in the box and then finally finish it. So I think for us, especially since last year, I know we've scored a lot of goals in games, and right now we're, I think the highest scoring team in the country. So I think it's been pretty well for us.
And I think you have to have good players to do what we've done. We do, but I think they're playing together really well, and I think that's been a real big piece of this that maybe goes a little. I think it's easier for our fans to see. Is that I think if we win, we're gonna win as a team. If we lose, we're gonna lose as a team. But we're gonna play together, and I think that's something that she does extremely well. I think she's obviously a big target, but she plays. She plays within the confines of the team concept, and I think that's what's been made our team very successful. And a big part of Morgan's success is she's got a lot of options around her which she can go to. So.
Thursday is hot dog night, which has been pretty big for the women's basketball team here. I don't know if you're aware of that history or not.
I am. I've learned that over my years here. Although I'm not sure how many hot dog nights we've had in women's soccer, but.
Yes, and if you knew any of the history or not.
I think that was Deb's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not up to snuff on it, but I think they did well on that night. I hope they did well.
It was popping out of the gills.
Yeah, the attendance at New All got smaller after that game because the fire marshal.
Oh.
The capacity number.
Well, let's hope that happens. That would be a. For me, somebody asked me the other day about is it good to get the fans behind the team? And for me, I've had a bond with my team every year. I love the team. I enjoy it. They're great to train and fun to watch. I've always felt that way. So I feel like it's nice to have so many other people see the same things that I've seen, or that we as a coaching staff have seen all these years. And I hope that continues. I think they play an exciting brand of soccer, and I think they're fun to watch. And I think I can say that as a coach, but also as a fan myself.
You think it's the best team you've had in Virginia? You've had some good teams.
Yeah, I've had some good teams. I think they're together more than any other team that I've had. Not that our other teams hadn't been together, but I think from right on through all 25 of our players, they're committed to one another, and they're committed to our goals, and I think they're unified, and that makes a big difference. I think it makes a difference why you can come back being down 2-0 to Duke, or being down 1-0 on the road to Boston College and come back and win. So, they deserve a lot of credit. They worked hard, and I think what's so good about this team too is they keep things in perspective. I think they've got a good perspective. I know most teams it would be hard to handle as long as we've handled this number one thing, but I don't think it even registers to them. I think they're very focused on the season and the game at hand.